I would say, on the boxing, they're all real good, but on just pure boxing, you guys won't believe it, but Khabib, on pure boxing, on pure everything, the combination of kicking, punching. Umar is very dynamic, very explosive, very different. They're all different. They're all different, but just on pure boxing, the one person I can say that stood out, Khabib. Khabib. That's the answer. You probably guys won't realize it, but Khabib was that good at boxing at the end. At the end, not the beginning. Don't count the beginning. He was horrible at the very end. Khabib was above everybody in the boxing department, and that's where he would do the most damage in the stand-up was his boxing. He's very difficult to deal with because he got really good at boxing.
Khabib Nurmagomedov делает тренировку силовых ударов в АК, American Kickboxing Академия. До встречи в Бразилии у Хабиба остается всего несколько дней, 12 дней. Хабибу очень нравится тренер, который с ним работает. Очень уважаемый пожилой человек, который великолепно ставит силовые удары. Тренер, который занимается тем, что ставит силовые удары Хабибу, сейчас с какой-то целью опрыскивает холодной водой Хабиба. Это полное удовольствие для Хабиба. Это имеет определенный смысл. Хабиб, тебе нравится здесь? Только тебя не слышно и не видно, когда ты говоришь. Хабиб говорит, что тренер лучший. Это знаменитейший тренер, который воспитал много чемпионов. Это Хабиб, следующий чемпион, который у нас проходит школу.
That overhand right there they threw, I've been working on it, sparring. The punch Cain landed at JDS, he learned from my coach, Pops Carvalho. He's like 79 years old.
Dump him. Hand up, boy.
Drop the Pop specials, overhand right.
It's impossible for you to block that overhand right. You're going to eat it if you put your hands up like so.
I flew to AK, which became my second home, on November 24, 2012. My opponent Thiago Tavares, number 1 in the Brazilian lightweight rating, had impressive 22 fights in his record, 12 of which were in the UFC. A strong opponent who will be fighting in front of his home crowd is not the most favorable situation for a fight. However, I felt confident, although I realized that I would have to compete in an atmosphere of extreme ill will. 40 days. That is how long I worked at the AK training camp that winter of 2012. For me it was a special camp because I met Pops. Walter Pops Carvalho. Although the old man has passed to the eternal world, I often remember him. I remember him with warmth and always with a smile. Pops was the coach of my coach. He worked with Javier Mendez since he was a child. They remained together after the end of Javier's career. Pops worked with fighters in AK. When we met, he was 80 years old. One day after the sparring at AK, Pops came up to me and asked me to start punching. I thought it was a joke. He insisted and I threw a couple of punches, deliberately quite weak, so that God forbid, I did not injure the old man. Why are you punching like a girl? Do it properly, Pops said. To say that I was amazed is nothing. I was cracking up with laughter. Getting hold of myself, I threw a combination of punches. Hit stronger! Where did you come from? Pops shouted with undisguised indignation. I started working at full force. And then I realized how strong Pops was. As it turned out, Pops was a classic boxing trainer. He demanded from his guys the most powerful punches. He went berserk when, knowing someone's capabilities, Pops felt his work was half-hearted. I didn't know the language at that time. Pops was telling me something all the time, but I did not understand him. All I managed to do was guess what he was saying based on the emotions that I saw on his face. Pops really reminded me of my father with his approach to the training process. You must do it like this and no other way. Pops had clear requirements just like my father. Who was that? I asked Javier, entering his office after training. Pops got to you, Javier asked, not hiding his laughter. You're lucky you spent only 20 minutes with him. Javier laughed. Next time, don't be there for too long. Pops is always looking for his next victim. All the guys run away from him. However, after that I never tried to avoid Pops. On the contrary, I asked him if he'd help me with sparring. On Monday, Wednesday and Friday I worked with Pops. And on Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday with Javier himself. The results of our work would be manifested on January 19th in Brazil.
So you use that overhand, you will knock the guy out. Got that. Overhand right, you cannot block. It's a lefty. Overhand right, go slow. Boy. See, that's the way you gotta punch. Don't punch coming out. You don't get inside. Boom! See? A solid body punch. Yeah. Like that. Yeah. All right, that's it right here. Yeah. But you're going good right hand. If I don't see you do it on TV, I'm going to be pissed off because I know you can knock the guy out with that right hand. Okay? Punch him out. Good. Good. Okay. Right, double. Good. Left step over. Down. Right, 6. 6. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Use that. Welcome. Come on. Go away, come. Yeah. Uppercut. Right hand. Down. Okay. Use that on the left. Do it again. Knock him out. You're ready to go. Make me proud of you. Okay? Now, get up off the ground by yourself. And throw your feet through it, throw your hands in the body. Yeah, okay. Come here, take this with me. Wait, careful. When you get through, take your gun out. I'm going to shoot you now.
Okay.
Rest good. Get all that. You go. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, cool. You have video?
No, I didn't take a video.
Please, picture.
Come on, not there.
1 second.
These guys fight my style. Punch is my style. Always punch it hard.
Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner. This man is a combat sambo fighter holding a perfect professional record. No losses. He stands 5 feet 10 inches tall, weighing in at 155 pounds.
Nurmagomedov. Nurmagomedov really dropping bombs now with those elbows. How good is that kid? Wow! Yeah, he caught him with that leaping uppercut. Caught Tavares and finished him off with those elbows. Brutal.
Я хочу поблагодарить Хавьера, главного тренера AKA, и из моих спарринг-партнеров Джон Фич, Томас, Тайсон Гриффин, Веласкес, Карме. Всех хочу поблагодарить. И также я хочу поблагодарить моего отца, который вырастил меня.
You know, I prepared really well for this fight. I was training at AKA and I had great sparring partners, you know, like Fitch, Velasquez, and many others, including the coach of AKA in California, Javier Mendez.
AKA striking coach, Pops. This is Punch.
And that's actually from the striking coach. That comes from him.
They call me Pops. I'm 78 years old, probably one of the oldest trainers still able to catch mitts for any of the fighters. I was born in Maui, Hawaii, and I left the islands when I was 17. I went in the Marine Corps. I retired as a product assurance program manager from Lockheed Missiles and Space Corporation here in Sunnyvale with 33 years experience. At one time I used to have about 25 engineers working for me, and I used to work on programs that nobody knows about. So I started training fighters as a hobby in 1968. And I trained, first I started training amateur boxing, then kickboxing. That's where I trained Javier Mendez, Francis Farley, Chris Sprinklehoff, and Sam Magnum Montgomery. All 4 of them made them world champions. I moved back to Hawaii with 4 world champions up here because my wife decided she wanted to move back to the islands because of the climate. And I moved back in 1991, and I was going to retire as a trainer, but there were so many guys that came over and asked me, so I started training boxing and kickboxing again. And then I got into MMA back in 98, 99. I got some good MMA fighters back in the islands. You know, I have about 6 pros there, and I have a bunch of amateurs. Last year, I took 4 youngsters. The youngest one was 7 years old. In amateur boxing, they're not allowed to compete until they're 8. I took him, his brother, who was at the time 12 years old, and 2 other boys that were 10 and 11. I trained him for about 3 months, entered him in the Junior Olympic Championship, and on 3 medals, 3 gold and 1 bronze. So that was pretty good. And they look great. They look like they've been training for years. That's because they had the will that they wanted to be fighters, and they really trained hard. But the kid develops a sense of discipline. 9 times out of 10, the kids that are trained, well-trained, and behave, they excel in school because they learn to listen and to do what they're told. They're not running around making trouble and stuff. Over here helping Javier train these guys because I love to see my guys progress. And as I work with them, I teach them different kind of combinations that they don't normally get from other coaches, and that makes them excel little by little. And I work with the younger guys and watch them grow into champions. And I love it here. I think Javier has a great gym here. It's one of the largest that I've ever seen. And he has all the equipment that's necessary to build world champions. And that's why I don't mind coming here, and Javier is a damn good guy. I like him very much. I've liked him even when I was training him, because he's an amiable type of person. To talk to him, you'll like him. He's not arrogant like I am. If the fighter has the will that he wants to fight, he's not being made to fight by his parents. And I know when I start training him, if he has the will that he wants to progress, like Javier has a new kid here that I just started training, and this is only the second try, and I know he's going to be a world champion. In fact, back when Cain first started, Javier had me work him in his old gym up there. And I told Javier then, I said, this guy is going to go somewhere. This guy got it.